What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer, and today I'm revisiting. It's been like 50 days. This is my favorite archetype by far. It's the Invoked Egyptian God, or Winged Dragon of Ra, Shaddoll, Rainbow Neos deck. It's a lot of words, but man, do these things have so much synergy. And what I love about this deck, and I'll start the replays here, is this is either the a grindy deck, or it just kills your opponent in one turn. You'll see that part of it here. So he's got the Dogmatika Punishment, which is fine. I can get rid of the Raigeki because I don't know if he has the other Dogmatika card in his hand at this point. But I'm in no rush, right? Like, I have all of these things going on. He doesn't have any extra deck monsters, so Shaddoll Fusion's dead for the most part. So, okay, I'm changing the pace of the play here. He completely destroys my back row. I do end up having the Guardian Slime as my backup, which I guess is pretty nice. He's got the Called by the Grave. He's got the Time Thief. I'm going to set a card. I got the Shaddoll monsters in my hand here. So he starts to go into his rank 4 plays. I'm going to get a little deeper into my deck, especially with the Shaddoll Beast, because he's not going to be able to get rid of it, but I'll just flip it up during my turn, of course, right? He's probably going to put a trap card underneath his Time Thief Redoer. He grabs an Ecclesia, which is just completely fine. So he goes to shuffle back the field spell, which it's like, okay, that is like maybe 10% of what this deck does. So I'm completely fine at this point. He's going to try to prevent me from special summoning, but I'm just able to send so many Shaddoll monsters to the graveyard. And this is the part that you might not expect. This isn't game for most Shaddoll players, but for me it is. So I'm going to be able to, as a backup insurance, even go into Invoked Macabre. But the more important part is the Winged Dragon of Ra, which is like 13,000 attack at this point. And that's definitely game, because he already used the effect of Time Thief Redoer. And if he used the other effect, he'd definitely be dead too. Here is some of the Snake Rain stuff. I think it's Abyss. I think that's what they're calling it. I'm not exactly sure. He drew part of his Red Eyes Fusion engine, which is kind of a problem, but not really, because Neos Fusion, one of the only kind of fusion cards that you would love to see in your open, because you can activate it at any point. It only locks you out of the extra deck after you use it, which makes it way better than Red Eyes Fusion, in my opinion. So there he goes. He goes in a bunch of plays. Part of it to fill his graveyard, probably, but I have a Alistair, I have a Guardian Slime in my hand, Neos Fusion, essentially everything you can want. So he goes ahead and negates with Dragoon, which is probably the right decision, but not a lot of people would expect Rainbow Neos. I'm going to flip all of those back, which comes up in handy a lot later on. But I kind of talked about this briefly before I did my updated deck profile, but the Dogmatika stuff, the more I play it, the more it makes the deck insane. So again, he has the Monster Reborn, but I shuffled back his Red Eyes, and a lot of win conditions is people getting their Red Eyes back on the field through one way or another. So I go ahead and stun him with the Shaddoll Window, because I was able to send the Shaddoll Ruck. And also it was really cool to be able to send the Guardian Slime to my hand for no reason other than, just to show off that I do use the Winged Dragon of Ra. I go in for a game with him. Moving on here, and this is one of the craziest duels I think I may have just ever played. This is a trap-heavy Dogmatika Cyber Dragon engine, and you'll see how much disruption I'm able to go through and survive. When I was playing this duel, like, I thought it was over. I thought there's just no way I'm not gonna be able to do anything here. I'll scoop and go to game 3, because I'll show you the other replay where I beat him. I had basically everything. This hand also is very good. Normal summon the Alistair, which is good. We're going to see if I can get a negate off the board, because I do have the Dogmatika Punishment, but he drains Ice Dragon Prison. Okay, so I'm working through it here. I'm going to be able to pop another one of his back row. I end up hitting an Artifact Scythe. This is obviously quite the stun deck that he's going for. The thing is, I don't really understand why he's playing Overload Fusion in this deck, because if you're using Dogmatika Punch, like, bro, like, you can't use your extra deck for like 2 turns. I'm going to go ahead and take some damage here. I want to save the Dogmatika Punishment the best I can. And there's one interaction with it I do want to show you. I'm going to be able to pop another one of his back row of some sort, which is very nice. And that's the Ice Dragon's Prison. Because I knew it was set. I want to get rid of it right now while I can. So both of these are going to get banished here. I can send the Windy. Windy's going to give me a little bit more defense. And Shaddoll Beast can obviously help me draw deeper into my deck. I wanted to put the Ecclesia on the field, so I had the negate with Fleur Elise. And that was kind of the interaction. He chained Cybernetic Overflow. You can't chain after it uses the effect to destroy. So when it's activated, you have to use the effect. That's fine. I also am pretty comfortable. I want to go into the extra deck, so I don't feel like there's any imminent threat, because he already used Nadir's Servant. He's pretty much done for the turn. So Ecclesia goes down. I go ahead and grab the Salmon Great Amaraz just in case has some way to destroy the Flare. I'm going to draw a couple and see what I can negate or pitch to the graveyard. I drew into a Falco, so again, I'm going to be able to use that effect to flip it up during my turn. So he goes for the Cybernetic Overflow. No Magical Meltdown for me. That's completely fine. Windy can pop down. I still have Shaddolls left in the graveyard. I want to convert these two into Rainbow Neos, but there we go. Now I've used essentially his last form of interaction that I think he has like in the deck. I mean, how many trap cards has he gone through? 2 Cybernetic Overflows, a Dogmatika Punishment. He's gone through the Elder Entity Nest, 2 Ice Dragon's Prisons. So I feel quite fine. I mean, the defense for El Shaddoll Construct as well is quite good. And I do have this Guardian Sign in my hand. I'm going to see if I'm able to use it, but I do top deck the Rainbow Neos. I'm going to go ahead and use the effect to shuffle everything he controls back into the graveyard. The Shaddoll Construct is now going to trigger, giving me my monster back. And I think he has Overload Fusion, but it's not really going to do anything for him, right? Like, he's going to set this trap card. He's going to attempt to use the effect to destroy my Rainbow's Neos, but I do have the protection, so he would have been bye-bye Gonzo. We'll go into another one here. Looks like I'm playing... this is to show the wide range of what the deck can do, because this is control, you know? So I've played fast-paced decks, and now I'm playing someone who has Summon Limit, and it's basically like a flip Shaddoll deck. So I have the Shaddolls in my hand, the appropriate ones, which is pretty cool. Because I want to trigger a couple effects here. The Rainbow's Neos comes down. I'm hoping to be able to shuffle all of his monsters back in the deck. He puts on Summon Limit a little too late, in my opinion. I'm going to try to shuffle these back, like I said. His last card in hand was an Effect Veiler, RIP and peace to me. I don't mind attacking into these because at the end of the day, like, he's going to flip them up during his turn anyway, so it's kind of a lose-lose situation. And also, he's under the Summon Limit, so in that sense, I think I did pretty well. He's going to go ahead and attempt to destroy the Rainbow Neos. I'm going to protect it, and now he can't do anything. I'm not necessarily in a rush too much here, like, I'm especially not even get rid of Summon Limit, because I think it's hurting him more than anything else. Windy is going to put the Ariel down. I don't know what he has in his banished pile. I guess it's the Beast. Okay, it's completely fine. He's going to end up flipping this up, drawing 2. And he has the Ash. He has the Effect Veiler, so he's really starting to gain a little bit of advantage, but he gives it up for the Construct. I'm not sure I agree with that, considering he can't summon anymore for the turn. So there we go. My Rainbow Neos goes down, but I sent the Wind Pegasus Adagnister a long time ago to kind of help me out. Top deck the Guardian Slime. It's a little bit of defense. It's not perfect. This is obviously not a meta contending deck. The top deck of Shaddoll Shaddoll Fusion, I should say, is pretty decent for him. And here we are. We're just chugging along, trying to get through it. He's kind of run out of targets at this point, you know. Construct is going to trigger, letting me add the Shaddoll Fusion back to my hand. And now that I have an Nadir Servant, I just have so many viable options to go through here. Because I haven't not used App Clone yet to get the Ruck. I can pitch the Guardian Slime like I think I did in an earlier display. I have the Fleur-de-Lis and I have the Ruck, so I'm going to have a negate for his monster. I'm going to be able to send something to the graveyard. So I want to keep these monsters on the field best I can. And then I can chain the Shaddoll Ruck for my second special summon and get rid of his Shaddoll monster. Construct's effects, he's going to go ahead and destroy this. Let's see what else I can get. And I'll do a Ruck, and I'll go into my own Construct, sending his... He's going to be able to get one of these back to his hand, but he's been so restricted, right, during this whole time. I think this was game, but again, you always got to go for the style points with the Winged Dragon of Ra. This one's up to 14,000, and I go for game. Able to make that final push. There's no debating about it. Here is a duel against Mech Knights. And the thing, I mean, I've talked about the synergy before, but it just goes so far, right? Like, using Shaddoll Fusion to trigger your Guardian Slime is an interaction that I don't think anyone's prepared to see, and they're also going to have to worry about so many other things. And this is one of the cool things about the deck, too, right? Because it's a going second deck, I'm not going to lie. But you can make boards exactly like this in a very, very common form and fashion, where you have a negate and you also have the pop. Elder Entity Nest is going to be able to pop something. I mess up all of his rows. He's going to discard something to draw a card, but I don't think it works out in his favor. I can boost the attack with Alistair the Invoker during that battle damage calculation, which is going to destroy his card. Now, the follow-up, who knows, because I'm locked out of the extra deck, but still, I think I'm fine at that point. I've taken control and gotten rid of most of his options. Last duel here again. This is game 1 from that Cyber Dragon duel that I had. The one that was crazy in the beginning. This one's a little more straightforward, and this goes over some of the interactions that I just talked about. So he's going to go for the Seeger play in the, what's it called, Ecclesia. So he's got a Bottomless Trap Hole, an Overflow, and a Dogmatika Punishment. Like, for a kind of casual strategy, at least with the casual engine, I think this is just really cool to be able to bust a board like this. I'm assuming I'm not really sure why he didn't chain the Torrential Tribute. I guess a little bit of fear wanting the defense on his field, but why are you playing Torrential Tribute at that point? So I've gone off. I got the Egyptian God Slime, and I do have trap cards in my deck, right? So if I do go into the Makapa, there's a pretty decent chance. There's at least some sort of chance that I'll have the proper negate in my hand. I think he had a Cyber Dragon core in his graveyard. I want to negate that because he's able to special summon a Cyber Dragon from the deck to do that. And at this point, I'm going to help clean up here with the Winged Dragon of Ra. Go ahead and negate the Dogmatika Punishment, and I can be able to go in for game just like that. Bada bing, bada boom, man. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this updated display of the deck. The deck profile that I showed last, I think, is exactly the same. I really can't wait for Invocation to get reprinted, Ecclesia, all the Dogmatika cards. But once that's done, because the Shaddoll stuff is just so cheap, man, this will be one of the most fun decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! To play if you're a fan of the Egyptian gods. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.